Hi, it's Dennis Daly. It's kind of funny. I don't like the taste of coffee, but I love the smell of it. So when I had the chance to go to the brand new, at the time, SPAGO Restaurant, created by Wolfgang Puck, to talk to Ernesto Ely, whose family invented the espresso machine, well, I jumped at the chance. The first thing I wanted to ask Mr. Ely is, does he get angry when people call his creation espresso instead of espresso?
But it doesn't matter how they call it. The problem is to see whether they like it. And I think that this seems to happen because you have a change in the pattern of coffee consumption in the United States. For some 25 years, the consumption was declining. And suddenly last year, for the first time, it is showing an increase. And I think that this increase is just a consequence of a change in the perception. Once people were having coffee for physiological needs, have liquid intake and have the caffeine lubricating your brain. Espresso and cappuccino are not for that, because cappuccino and espresso do not contain a lot of caffeine. Espresso contains less caffeine than the same quantity of coffee made with another way, like drip pot, and it doesn't contain liquid. So what are you looking in an espresso? You look for the pleasure of the nose, the flavor, and the pleasure of the taste. You know what? Aftertaste and after flavor.
What you're saying is very reminiscent, in a way, of the way people love fine wines.
Yes.
The sensual thing you're describing.
Yes. The difference between wine and espresso is the fact that wine has a background which is clean, which is water. So you have something like 250, 300 flavors, plus a little alcohol, that are easily perceivable. Espresso coffee is made by slightly darker roasted coffee, so you have a background of roasted tones. And only by learning how to discriminate between this roasted smell and taste and the high espresso quality, you become an expert.
Take us back, if you will, to the history of espresso. And if I may ask a naive question, can you tell us the difference between cappuccino and espresso?
Cappuccino is an espresso to which you add hot milk and the foam that the milk generates when you blow up with steam. The formula in Italy is 1 shot of espresso, 1 shot of milk, and 1 shot of foam. Frequently, if the espresso is bitter, and it happens sometime in this country that espresso is too bitter, people increase the amount of milk, which is normally a distortion, because you will depress the flavors and increase the milk content. Espresso doesn't contain calories. If you have a cappuccino, you have a small quantity of calories, but if you have half a gallon of milk, you have a lot of calories.
It would seem then that what you're talking about is something that is of the very essence for coffee lovers, that with espresso you're trying to bring out the richness without masking it with anything.
You are making exactly the point. Espresso is for pleasure. Espresso is for an hedonistic enjoyment, and it is an aesthetical appreciation. It is not for liquid, it is not for coffee. But you must have high quality coffee and an excellent preparation, because 50% of the quality comes from the bean, and our beans are taken from a different country, from people that we have to teach how to make the great cup of coffee by growing the coffee in the correct way. But also 50% is in how you turn the beans in a cup. And this is the tricky side of the espresso. We make it easy with the pods, the easy system that has been very well accepted, and mixing espresso with that is so easy that even the 2.5-year daughter of my second son was able to offer me an espresso 2 weeks ago.
We are visiting the brand new SPAGO Restaurant in Beverly Hills. You may have heard of Chef Wolfgang Puck. He came to America from Austria a couple of decades ago, and with his lovely wife Barbara, he has started what amounts to a food dynasty. Now his products available all over North America in frozen form. He is the chief proponent of what you might call California cuisine. And when it came time to pick an espresso coffee for for his restaurant, he turned to an Italian company, Illy Cafe. And this week on American Montage, we are at the SPAGO Restaurant talking to a man whose father literally invented the espresso machine. Dr. Ernesto Illy is a Ph.D. in all kinds of scientific endeavors, pure chemistry from the University of Bologna in 1947. He is known around the world when it comes to talking about fine coffee. I mentioned to Dr. Illy that it is a genuine tribute to his concept of espresso. Whoops, I said it. Espresso coffee. We're so conditioned to put an X in there, and there isn't, that it is such a tribute to his company and to the fine machinery it makes that during a time when the price of coffee is going up and up, his sales continue to rise and people continue to fall in love with espresso.
Yes, but the price issue is not anymore so important. It is the aesthetical and the pleasure fact that is more important. I think that today the price that are going up strongly are just giving a sign that quality is becoming important, because the cheap coffee is still there. Robusta coffee is in plenty, the prices are not raising, so what is going up is the prices of the very fine coffees. That is a sign that people appreciate more and more high quality. And our expansion in 51 countries and in the States is just confirming that. We are a very expensive coffee company, but we deliver something that is practically difficult to beat.
What is it like to be associated with something that is this much fun? I mean, you could be with a shoe manufacturing company, but here you are out. It's a wonderful party here. You're dealing with a high quality product. You're around fun people. What is your job like?
I am a mixture of a scientist and a businessman, which is a very unusual concoction, because normally businessmen don't really like science, and scientists don't like business. So by working in espresso, which is an incredibly complex product, you have to deal with many scientific issues. And I have been trying all my life to give scientific answers in area in which frequently the easiest way is to give a kind of a widget answer, the magic thought. If you do that, it's easy, it's fast, it's cheap. If you go the way of a scientist, it's lengthy, it is very stubborn you have to be, and it costs a lot of money and energy. But if you have an answer, it is an answer, and it is not a guess.
If I may move away from espresso just for a second, what you're saying I find of interest, because if young people could understand that you can have fun with science, the whole, we call it egghead in this country, the whole almost better than you are attitude about scientists, I think would be washed away, because you're just a pretty normal guy who happens to operate in both spheres.
Yes, and I think it will become more and more important in the future. The easy way to solve problem and the relatively simple problem have been all solved in the past. What remains to be solved is the complexity. And there you need the help not only of one science, you have to be multidisciplinary. If I am a chemist, but I have to learn molecular biology, I have to learn aroma chemistry, I have to learn brain chemistry, understanding how caffeine is moving in our brain and making us happy in the right cup of coffee in quantity that is small, and why the same caffeine makes you anxious if you have too much around. So all these kind of things are the beauty of a complex product, which is coffee and espresso.
Well, thanks for taking the time to talk.
Thank you.
Good food and good drink, and who knows more about that than Wolfgang Puck. He has revolutionized and changed the face and the taste of California cuisine. You may remember on a tour of the Sunset Strip some time ago, we ran into Wolfgang Puck, but at that time just for a few minutes, and it was good to renew old acquaintances. Why do you look younger now than you did when I saw you last? You didn't have a beard or a mustache?
No. I look the same all the time, I think. So I don't know much change. I just eat a little bit more. My skin gets stretched out. So
I guess that's it. Let me a quick question. I just moved to Los Angeles for the weather. What is it like to be in a city where you can have this outdoor setting, because the whole cafe, sidewalk kind of thing, you can't do it in the U.S. a lot of the year in Boston, Washington, places like that?
Well, I think we are lucky in California that we have such wonderful weather, and I think we have to take advantage of it, and I think it's wonderful for lunch and for dinner to sit outside. I certainly love it. So I think that's one of the reasons we bought this place here, which used to be the Bistro Garden. Now it's SPAGO Beverly Hills. And I think I always loved the outside.
Wolfgang, where does the word spago come from?
Well, the word spago actually came from an Italian friend of mine, which means a string, and or a string with no beginning and no end. So, and he was supposed to be one of my investors. He never invested money, but I kept the name, and it became famous. Who knew at that time what it would become?
Now, you, in the minds of many people, have invented what we call California cuisine. Really, the first time I heard your name was on some frozen pizzas that were distributed in the Washington, D.C. area. Then I visited out here, and I thought, is this the same guy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We started actually, with Spago, and we made some pizzas, and then a lot of customers took the pizzas home, and they heated them up. So I said, maybe we make a little business out of it. So we started a new company and made frozen food, frozen pizzas, and now we make frozen lasagnas, tortellinis, raviolis, lasagnas, and everything too.
If you would, tell me a little bit about your background. You have a wonderful accent.
Well, I think I'm born in Austria a long, long time ago in 1949, and I went to school until I was 14 years old. Then I did an apprenticeship for 3 years, and then I went to France and worked there for 7 years in restaurants like Maxim's in Paris, Hotel de Paris in Monte Carlo, Beaumanière. And then I came to the United States when I was 24 and worked in Indianapolis for a year. And then,
where did you work there? I'm from Indiana originally.
Oh, yeah. I worked in Indianapolis at a restaurant called La Tour on top of the Indiana National Bank. And then after 1 year I got my green card and everything, and then I moved to California and started in Los Angeles with Ma Maison and became a partner and chef there. And then in about 1980, 79, 80, I met Barbara, who's now my wife, and then we always thought we were going to open our own restaurant, and in 82 we opened Spago.
It's a real tribute to you that your cuisine has caught on, but, and I don't mean to sound patronizing here, a lot of it is your personality. You have some very good friends. The Oscar people, after the ceremonies, come to you. You've really become a part of Hollywood.
Well, I think if you are in a city where you are, you become part of it. Obviously, if you're in Washington, you're going to have a lot of politicians or people like that. In New York, you have a lot of theater people, maybe banking people and things like that. So I think it really depends where you are. And I think we are in Hollywood, so we became part of Hollywood. And I think it's only normal that we are part of the community.
Let me ask you a final question, and that is, we're here to talk about espresso today. That's a burgeoning kind of thing, that fine coffee. Are you seeing more and more people really, as they used to get into wines, understanding coffees now?
No, I think it's an important thing. For me, I always loved coffee. When I was a kid, my mother gave me coffee, not espresso, but regular coffee. And I think even today, I drink espresso in the morning, I drink espresso at night. So I think it's really, I'm almost like addicted to it. The same way in America, people are used to drink coffee all day long. I like the espresso, and I think to have espresso like the Illy espresso is certainly the best one by far, and we use it everywhere, even in our cafes. We have the Wolfgang Puck cafes, we use Illy Cafe, and we have a self-service at the airport, we use Illy cafes, because when I go to the airport and want to fly somewhere, I need a good cappuccino in the morning, and then I know where to get it.
Wolfgang, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
What do you know? Ernesto Ely and Wolfgang Puck both in the same place, which Wolfgang Puck owns. I'm Dennis Staley.